Good evening and welcome back to the Masonic Roundtable, a weekly hangout where Masons from around the world get together to talk about Masonic news and opinions in a friendly and social manner. The standard disclaimer applies: the thoughts and opinions expressed here are solely the opinions of the participants and do not represent any Grand Lodge statements or positions. Make sure you keep your conversations open for the public and on the level. Tonight, as usual, we are soliciting questions and comments from you via Twitter at Mason Roundtable or with the hashtag TMR episode 39, almost to 40, wow, or on the Facebook page. Let's go around, quick round of introductions. My name is John Ruark, past master of the Patriot Lodge, number 1957, in Fairfax, Virginia. Handing it off to Robert.
Brother Robert Johnson, I guess Worshipful Master-elect, Waukegan Lodge.
Woo!
Thanks, guys.
Congrats.
And host of Whence Came You podcast.
Nice. Nick Johnson.
Nick Johnson, past master of Corinthian Lodge number 67 in Big Time Farmington, Minnesota.
Mm-hmm. And Mix Master Juan Sepulveda.
And good evening, everybody. Juan Sepulveda. I am a member of Iola Lodge number 207 in Orlando, Florida, and the host of the Winding Stairs Freemasonry podcast.
Awesome. Jason is still enjoying his anniversary tour around Italy, so he will be with us in the next couple weeks. Let's see. Masonic news. Let's switch right into that. As a reminder, Cliff Porter is doing his fundraiser. He's about halfway through, and with 15 days left, and 40% of his goal is met, so there's still plenty of time to donate. And if you get a chance, check out the show notes, and there's a link to that campaign.
Great campaign. And
yeah, I think
it's really all in on it, guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an emotional campaign for sure of something that affected him personally, and he wants to give back, and this is something that we as Masons can do. So make sure you get a chance to donate to that. Also, Masonic Week. That's coming up soon, usually the second week of February every year. And the new 2015 schedule has been posted. The link is also there in the show notes, but here it is. It's again in Reston, Virginia, not too far from where we are in Northern Virginia. And as you can see, there are a ton of Masonic bodies that join. In fact, episode 1 of the Masonic Roundtable, we were talking about Masonic Week. So
Like a year almost. Holy
it
cow.
seems like a long time ago.
Remember Jar Jar Banks in that one? It was terrible.
Episode 1. Oh, jeez. Don't talk about Richards like that.
Ooh.
Oh. Hey, so, yeah, it's kind of exciting. There's plenty of stuff to do. I'm sure we'll talk more about it as the time gets closer, but the schedule is posted, so if you want to check it out and see what things there are, things that are open for the public. You don't have to be a member of certain AMD things. There are things like the Masonic Society, the Blue Friars, a couple others that are open for the public and open for any Master Mason. So check that out.
You know, and one of the interesting omissions this year, it appears that the Society Rosicrucianus, or however you say it, in Civitas Federalis, or
Sure.
that's as good a Latin as it's going to get for me. So, but the Rosicrucians in the U.S. will not be there this year. It looks like they're meeting in Kentucky. So,
Really?
yeah, very interesting.
Maybe they just... I don't know. I'll steer clear.
They found the vault. That's all I know. But
Yeah.
And it's in Kentucky.
Hey, what's in Kentucky?
Yeah.
I know where it is.
All
I
right,
thought it was
Juan.
under the Guidestones.
Yeah. Juan, you have something you wanted to share?
Yes, I was reading a story about a historic Masonic temple in East. It's called East Price Hill, and this is in Cincinnati. And when I first came across the story, it was buried in between many stories about lodges being sold and destroyed. This one was built back in 1911 and was a Masonic temple, used as a Masonic temple for 77 years, but eventually ceased being used for that. And for about 30, almost 30 years, it was empty. And it was condemned at one point, but a company came in and tried to convince to make it a historical site. It's a beautiful building. I don't know if you can see this, the rendition of how it looks.
Wow.
But unfortunately, it's going to be used just to rent it as a facility for events and weddings and things of that nature. At the very least, they're saving the building, but it's another one of those sad stories about lodge going into disrepair, not making sufficient money to keep it open, goes dark, and then it goes into the hands of some non-Masonic entity. So, I'd like to tell the brothers, as young Masons, we might be thinking, man, we're losing all these things, but unless we get active and we really work to inject energy into the fraternity, this is going to continue to happen, and all these buildings are just going to, we won't have access to them. So we have to keep on pressing, moving forward, and making sure that our fraternity thrives as opposed to declines.
That's true. Waukegan Lodge, my home lodge, meets across the street from where it used to, which was at 220 Genesee Street in Waukegan, Illinois. And we built a building, and it was dedicated in 1921. We held on to it for, geez, I don't know, 40 years before we realized there is no way we can keep this building. It was very similar to the building you just showed. Almost
Wow.
the same kind of structure, elongated, built for lodge rooms and ballrooms, and just amazing. And they just sold it for like $20 million to a place that they're just renovating it. I think they're going to turn it into a theater.
Oh, wow.
So, but at least it'll still be there. Our cornerstone is still there. I take all the new brothers over there to check it out before we go to, give them histories. So,
Hmm.
nice.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting too, being a member of a lodge that doesn't have a building, right? That we don't have the history. I mean, it's sad to see these lodges that have had history in these historic buildings and then not be able to afford the upkeep.
Right.
But at the same time, we don't have enough capital to invest in real estate at this point, right? So we're not even ready for the market yet, is what I'm trying to say. That
Sure.
it's just missing us, right? For people that are trying to lose those expensive buildings, to the price of the building hasn't come down enough for us to match it with capital. So while the fraternity, maybe or may not be growing, depending if you talk to me or Richards, it's just it's not at equilibrium yet. Right.
Yeah. My advice: don't buy a building, but that's just my advice. Just don't do it. That's another show.
A whole episode in itself. I agree with you,
Yeah.
Nick. I love those old buildings, but second year built, you have a whole list of responsibilities.
Very, very
Yeah.
true. All right. Let's see. Moving on to the topic tonight, Masonic rings. We thought this would be a nice, easy conversation to get into. Give a little bit of a lighthearted topic where really let's discuss about where did this whole ring concept come from. And like we were talking in the green room, one thing that I haven't seen is really the first recorded instance of Masonic ring in history, right? We've got lots of stories of, these golden squares that have had inscriptions on them. We've had stories of guys with Masonic tattoos that have been washed ashore, centuries ago. But the concept of a Masonic ring seems to be a relatively new invention to the craft, but yet all of a sudden it's now such a ubiquitous thing that itself has become almost a badge of a Freemason, right?
Sure.
I don't know if you guys have done any research or have heard anything about the earliest known records of Masonic rings, or the oldest ring you may have heard of that's been passed down.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we were talking before the show, and pretty much the oldest type rings that I've seen. And again, I've done no research on the topic, but as John was saying, I mean, he couldn't find anything. It's really difficult to see, but I found signet rings that have the Masonic square and compass in them, the G's in the middle. His is from a friend of mine who has it, and it's a Civil War ring. Um, and it's backwards because it was used for a wax stamp, and it's a Masonic ring. Uh, that's pretty much the earliest one that I've seen. There's got to be way older rings than that.
Right. I think one thing we want to talk about, I know we had some questions from guys before the show, that there are many entered apprentices and fellow crafts that are also watching the show. They want to know, where can I buy a ring? What's the protocol for that? I think one thing we should probably start with is kind of where to find a Masonic ring. What's good, what's bad, what to look for, and what to shy away from. So with that, let's just kind of open up. Where did you find your ring, and what led you to pick that style that you chose? I'll open it up to anybody.
Let's hear from Juan.
Oh yeah.
Can you see my ring right there?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's nice enough. I can't say it's not expensive. It's not made of a precious metal. This is just a stainless steel ring. But I found it on eBay, and it's a company called AJS, and they make some are nice and some are kind of questionable. But this is a placeholder, okay, for this one I want to show you. All right,
So you bought that one first.
I bought this one first. I spent maybe $40, $50 for it.
Mm-hmm.
And when I grow up, I
like it.
want to have this. This is by Adonai Potabon, and this is my favorite ring. And I've looked online for rings forever, but this would set you back, some money.
Yeah, a few house payments.
A couple $10. Yeah.
Yeah, a few. But I wanted to, as soon as I became a master mason, I wanted to have a ring. I wanted to have that daily visual reminder of the square and compasses, and I've grown accustomed to it.
Did you buy it before you received your Master Mason degree?
I did not. I waited until I was a master, and then I bought it.
Okay. Cool. And what
I'm
made you pick that design?
I wanted to have square and compasses with a G in the middle. I wanted to be simple. I wanted to look like a signet ring. I'm a big fan of signet rings and what they symbolize. That geek in me. So,
Nice.
I have sealed letters and actually used my signet ring to
Nice.
market. So.
All right. Nick, how about you?
All right, hold on. Let me show you my ring. Oh wait, I don't have it on.
Oh,
Hold on.
what?
Hold on.
Wait a minute. But you're a
Oh.
Mason.
Oh, I know.
Streaker.
I'm supposed to be like putting on this billboard that says,
Oh.
"Yes, I am a Mason." But I'm really terrible. This is literally the only ring I found in my house before the show. I've been looking for hours trying to find my other ones. It's a really ugly, kind of ugly silver. You can see it's kind of like it's a open back. It was like, I don't know, $10, $10, $20 on that great Masonic store known as eBay. But it's kind of funny. Spared no expense. I think the postage was more expensive than the ring was. But I have a past master's ring it's kind of nice. It's about, I don't know, that big. And the thing is, I never really wear a ring. It's usually because it's on my dominant hand, my right hand. That's part of the issue. But it's just kind of weird when I don't know, maybe it's like this strange Scandinavian thing where I get a little like uncomfortable having to explain like the things I'm in. So like I'll sit on the bus, and when I was wearing my ring, I could tell that people were looking at it, and so I'd like quick turn it upside down or kind of hide it, and it was always like this weird uncomfortable moment. I don't know.
Nick, I cannot picture you not talking about masonry. I mean,
I know, isn't that weird? But it's like on the bus, it's like, just leave me the hell alone. I want to read my book. You know?
wow. So
Yeah, I
you're
know.
not a fan of shining light, huh?
I know. And the thing is, I feel kind of bad because I'll go into lodge and the guys will be looking at my hands and Nick, what happened to that ring that we gave you? And it's like, well, it's at home. They're like, well, what's it doing there?
Wow.
But Nick's
Yeah.
not telling you. He has a square and compass with a G in the middle that's like 2 feet by 3 feet long tattooed on his back.
Yeah, that's right.
When they play shirts and skins,
Yeah.
they're-
Which is also why I swim with a t-shirt on.
All right, Robert, how about yours?
so the first thing I ever bought when I was a Mason was a pin, and I bought it, and they sent me a past master's pin. I was just, and I asked my mentor about it, and he said, "That's a past master's pin. You should probably give that one back. And if you wear anything, don't wear it until you're a master Mason." Now you talked about entered apprentices and fellow crafts, and maybe they have some questions about when they can start showing some jewelry or wearing something. You have that need, that want to share with the world the coolest thing in the whole world that you discovered, and that people have shown you, being a Mason, and you're so proud of it. You just want to wear something right away. Um, but I was always told, like, not to not wear it because it wasn't right, but because if someone were to challenge me on anything that I didn't know, they might, jump my stuff over it. Like, you really shouldn't be wearing that. Um, so with that, when I finally first bought a ring, I did the same thing Nick did. I went on eBay and I bought this quote unquote sterling silver, and it is sterling silver because right now it is completely tarnished, sitting in my jewelry box. And I bought it, and of course I was so zealous to get it that I did the thing where I printed out the ring size and wrapped it around my finger and tried to figure it out rather than just like being patient, maybe, and going to a jewelry store to get it sized. I couldn't remember my wedding ring size. I was like holding them up, like trying to figure it out. And then I bought another one for like $15 on eBay, and then I bought another one, then I bought another one, then I bought another one. So I have like 10, no, I have eight Masonic rings, all of them, um, no more than I think $30, except for two of them, um, which was where I got the one that really means the most to me that I just dropped.
It means that much?
Stainless steel ring. And I got mine through a guy named Gordon Spurlock, and he's getting up there in age now. He hand makes them. It's kind of difficult for a lot of people to do business with him because he still does, like, you mail me a check with a letter that says which ring you wanted, and I'll send you the ring. I mean, that's it. So
Whoa.
the online catalog is really cool, and the rings are just great. I bought two of his rings, but the one that means the most to me was he made a custom ring for my lodge. I don't know. It's kind of, maybe you can see it, maybe not. But it's got a square and compass with a G. It's got poured enamel in there, and it says Waukegan Lodge number 78. It's got our charter date of 1849. And
Nice.
it's a stainless steel ring. And I guess, we kind of have, my lodge is almost an affinity lodge, in the sense that almost nobody that attends my lodge is not a laborer. My lodge is full of HVAC technicians, electricians, hardworking dudes that work with their hands. So these stainless steel rings we like all jumped on, and this thing is scuffed up and just disgusting at times. But it is the ring that I wear most often. And then my father-in-law, when I joined the commandery, he gave me his great grandfather's ring. So this ring is about oh geez, I don't even know, probably 110 years old. But on the front, it's
Oh my
really worn
God.
because it's gold, but it's a commander's thing. It's a cross sitting on an open Bible. One side has the keystone for the York Rite, and the other side has the square and compass. And I really only wear this one for degrees. Um, and then just for the flashiest, most ridiculous thing in the whole world that I always wear is this big, huge gold red one.
You
With
can see
the,
that from space.
yeah, you can see it from
Nice.
space, and you can get these for like $35.
Dude, it's like as big as your head. Look at it.
At Grand Lodge session, and
My
that's exactly where
eye.
I get it for $35. And I wear it because I really do hope people ask me about it, so that I have every opportunity to sell masonry to everybody.
Alrighty. As for me, I actually had a completely different approach that most of you guys did. I was really interested to hear your backstories because I was so zealous for the fraternity when I was getting mine. I shopped around on the internet, and of course, I had good instruction early on. Don't wear anything Masonic until after you get your third degree. But I window shopped online and saved up money, and I spent way too much for a Masonic ring. Yeah, way too much. So, but with the assumption that this is going to be hopefully the last ring I'll ever wear, right? So I took that approach to it. I only have one ring. I don't plan on getting a past master's ring. It's just a simple square and compass one. It doesn't really show up too well here, but let me see if I can bring up. I had a picture of it, and a funny story. I'm trying to bring up the site where I found it, but the that's what my ring looks like. Um, but the site is down, so either they're out of business or they're just not up at the moment. Um, but that's pretty much what my ring looks like. It's very simple. Looks a lot like my ring from my alma mater, and it's from a signet style. Of course,
Yeah.
it's not reversed, but it's very much a signet style ring. And again, I bought that with the assumption that this is going to be the last ring I'll ever buy because that's I'm so proud of the fraternity as it was. So that one did come from overseas. I got it before I got my third degree, so I had it in hand. Tried it on once just to make sure that it fit. But then the day that I was getting my third degree, I handed the box to the worshipful master and said, if there are any presentations at the end, I would like you to hand this to me at the end of my degree. So immediately after the degree, got that handed to me, was able to put it on right away. And so it was a good moment, even though he didn't buy it for me. Just the symbolic, passing of the token. You're now fully empowered to wear that ring. It was a good thing. And I do recommend people doing it. It's just, even if it's your own ring, your own money, it's kind of nice that you can finally, after months of working on your catechism, you do have a physical token to show for it. So that's my ring story.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I love that. So many guys. I've talked to a few now who they'll ask you advice. They'll say, you were talking about how do the guys are asking, when can I put it on? Where do I buy them? Presentation. Am I supposed to buy them myself? Do I have to wait for somebody to buy them for me? Um, it's kind of funny. Rob Walk Jr., one of the guys who writes for the Midnight Freemasons, he had the same issue. I think he didn't want to buy his own ring. It meant so much more coming. I don't, Rob, if you're listening, I'm sorry if I get this wrong. I think his in-laws got him a ring. I think, and I think that's the story behind it. But it's just really interesting to get it as a gift. It does make it so much more special. Like you said though, even if you buy it yourself and somebody hands it to you, just that, you just want to stop the world and say, hold on, everybody, let me just put this on, and then take a breath and go, all right, then go
I,
take it.
I'm totally picturing like the whole like Frodo with the ring. He's just kind of slipping. Oh!
Instead of disappearing, now he is appearing. That's awesome.
John, your story reminded me of a dear brother, Paul Izzo Jr. We were raised together, and as soon as the raising was done and everybody starts talking, then the worshipful master from our lodge went around and presented him the ring from his grandfather. His grandfather couldn't be there. I cannot remember if he had recently passed, but I know he's not with us anymore. But I can't remember if the timeline coincides with him passing or not. But I know it was very emotional, and I had nothing to do with it. I just, I was just part of the. Oh, I was a witness to it, and I felt almost as if I have been receiving something from my grandfather. I could feel the emotion in the whole thing, and he wears that ring very, very proudly because it's of course, a symbol of becoming a master mason, but also is that connection he has with his past grandfather. So it was really memorable.
That's incredible.
Here's an interesting thing that I know one brother did was he would always take his Masonic ring, he would put it here on his left hand, and then he would put his wedding ring like this. And he'd always say, it's because I want the fraternity closer to my heart than anything else. And, what are your thoughts on that? Because
as soon as he got home, he would switch them.
Yeah, is he still married, or what's the deal there?
Yeah, it's that's strange. I mean, it's like I'm like, I love you guys, but
that's a new one. I haven't heard that one.
Honestly, that's dangerous and unnecessary symbolism.
So, I did a post on Midnight Freemasons a while back that was masonry, Mason's ring more important than your wedding ring ? And that
I remember that.
So much fire. The argument was essentially that you're always a Mason, you might not always be married. And I was like, I don't know if that's a logical fallacy or not. But there's a partial truth to that. However, I think that in that kind of respect, that falls into the realm of if you're a Mason and you're married, your wife is either A, cool with it, B, doesn't care, or C, is super involved. I mean, all three of those things we're lucky for. So
yeah.
Wise counsel. Just because he brought this up doesn't mean you have to comment on it. All right, you don't have to take a position either or.
Yeah. So where could we get where do dudes get awesome rings? Like, where do you guys recommend awesome rings? I know John asked, but we didn't hit on it. So.
Well, we definitely know we got quite a few from eBay. I think the good news is there's so many Masonic supply stores now within, a .com away. So it's really, there's no one better than the other. You're going to get different quality, right? Yep. So we talked a little bit about quality. Again, it's really the internal, not the external qualifications of a man that we admire. But if it's up to you. If you want to go all flashy and bling it out, go nuts. But it's really up to you and your style. And
your budget.
And your budget, exactly. There's going to be some very, cheap $10 rings, and there's going to be some $1,000 rings, and it's up to you to decide.
Well, and two other places you should always kind of check out is there's a local jewelry store right next to my lodge, and he has, because he knows there's Masons that are going to be coming and going, he always has a few in the case that you can check, you can check out. And another place that I've always, you can find all kinds of Masonic things is if you look at the antique stores, or even better, the secondhand stores, consignment shops, because you can always find that stuff, and you can have that added benefit of feeling like you're saving it, from going out to the
Yeah.
public, to a public that doesn't understand what the symbolism is or any of that stuff, or buying it just to melt it down. You can feel almost like a hero, like you're taking this object and bringing it back into the fraternity. So
That's kind of how I felt when I got my Scottish Rite cap. I bought a used one that was a deceased brother's. I felt like I was carrying it on instead of just letting it go in the garbage.
That's a
Yeah.
nice thought. I like that. The one I showed you earlier, if you go to engravingarts.com, he has many different styles. Some with the G in the middle, with nothing in the middle. He has Scottish Rite, York Rite, you name it, and they're very, very, very well crafted. Um, Eventually, I'll save enough to get one. And I got a hold of him when I was putting together my resources book. I wanted to give him a heads up that I was going to mention his website on it, and he was very grateful for it. And this one is his favorite as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. One topic that I really hadn't considered, Nick, you really kind of sparked some interest in me about why you wouldn't wear your Masonic ring. As I alluded to in the kind of the kickoff, that it's almost become a token, a standard badge of a Mason nowadays. That if you're a Mason, you got to get a ring and you got to show it off. And I just find it interesting. So why do you guys wear your rings? So aside from what it looks like, where you got it, why do you wear one today?
I like the modes of recognition parts of it. That someone who knows what it is can spot it and then start a conversation. I work from home, and I love to talk. You probably know this. So, any
What?
yeah. So if I can engage in a meaningful conversation, the very little time that I'm out there, walking about, the better. I've had some people look at it and kind of give me the weird look, like, "Are you a Mason?" I was like, you try to cut that one short. I'm like, yep. That's it.
I was in a Barnes and oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, Nick, I want to hear from you, buddy.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. I want to hear from me too. But anyway, I was in a Barnes and Noble. It was kind of interesting. I had my ring on, and as I said, I usually don't have it on, but that day it was just one of those happenstance things. It was kind of funny. I'm looking through the books, and of course I entered to the U.S. history. That's what they call it, U.S. history. Wherever the Masonic books are, it's always U.S. history. And so that's where I was. I was looking through there, and I'm flipping through the books, and this young kid, he must have been 17, maybe 18, but probably 16, 17. And he's like looking at my ring, and like he's just gobsmacked. He's like, and it's like, yeah, I mean, Mason, yeah, these books are pretty cool. I mean, this one's about George Washington. You could see he's like this close. He's like, are you a Mason? You can see that he's forming the words in his head. Are you a Mason? But he just doesn't quite get there. Yeah, he's just like, and it's like, well, have a nice day, kiddo. And I just walk away. I'm like, I'm such a terrible person. But it's like,
Totally should have messed with his head, dude. I'm telling you.
oh man, it was so evil there. I was just like,
We are.
what?
You just ask him, "Did you notice my ring?" And then just turn around and walk away and say nothing else.
My eyes are up here.
My eyes are up here. Oh, awesome.
No, I mean, I definitely wear the ring for the same reasons I wear Masonic lapel pins and that kind of thing. Is really to let people know. I don't know why Nick doesn't, but hey, to each their own. I want to tell people, I want to start that conversation that I think people they can decide if they want to engage, right? Because they can see it as a visible symbol. It's highly recognizable. And then they can take the next step, or if I see them glancing, I can say, oh, yeah, notice my ring, that kind of thing. So I want to make that engaging as well. I also I think one thing that we allude to or take for granted sometimes is the fact that we do it as a reminder for ourselves, right? I also wear it as a governor to say I am showing off the fraternity and I'm a representative of that fraternity. I better keep my passions, within due bounds, because
That's I didn't even think about, John, and I totally agree with you. Like I know I do that, and I know a lot of guys do that, but thank you for bringing it up.
I wear as much for me as for to let other people know. Hmm.
Yeah, that's definitely. Yeah, I think my main reason is to sell the fraternity. If I could, I'd wear a T-shirt. I used to wear a T-shirt that said "Ask me about the Second Amendment." Uh, and I'd walk around like total power guy. Like I'd have the sport coat, T-shirt, and jeans, and I would have like an obnoxious T-shirt on. I want one that says "Ask me about becoming a Freemason."
See,
Ask me about
that's the
Freemason.
walking billboard that Nick was talking about.
Yeah.
Wear that when you go on the bus.
Yeah, I can picture
Exactly.
Robert with the big
I'll just take
sandwich
off my
boards.
Just take the shirt off. You'll have that 2-foot square and compass on your back.
Yeah, it's cool.
Mhm. All right, let's switch a little bit over to social media. Um, I know that our friend and brother Richard Ingham said that because he is an automobile mechanic, he doesn't wear a ring for safety reasons, right? And he's heard of some unfortunate accidents where that has been, um, just a safety hazard of their vocation. So that could be one reason why you wouldn't want to wear one, just for the obvious reasons. I can't think of any, aside from safety, any employers that would say, no rings unless I guess your police force, they have some uh, tight standards on what you can wear. Um, Sam Lapointe on the Facebook page also showed off uh, his 14th degree ring, the Scottish Rite ring. We talked a lot about our rings with square and compass on them, but the pendant bodies of Masonry also have their own symbols and rings as well. So there are people that are proud to show off that affiliation. And so Kenneth Lotman mentions that his dress ring was bought at a local jeweler who is also a Mason, and his great uncle is the reason that he became a Mason and bought it for him. So there is like a family heritage, a family history. You mentioned your grandfather's ring, Robert, right?
Yeah, it's um, my father-in-law, his dad's dad, right? So his
Okay.
grandfather was a Templar, then his dad wasn't, but was high up in York, right? And then Steve, my father-in-law, never joined, and so he didn't know what to do with the stuff. He's been just giving me stuff as it comes, as he finds it. He's like, "Oh, you joined this? We'll have this." And when he gave me that ring, I mean, I was floored.
Right.
It's my favorite Masonic ring, and like I said, I only wear it for degree work because I'm so scared I'll lose it.
Mhm.
But it fit perfectly, which was a sign.
Nice. Well, and that's the other thing too. That's another place to get Masonic jewelry is if you have someone in your family that you knew or maybe even suspected was a Mason. Go ask your family members who may have inherited some of those objects to say, was Grandpa a Mason, and do you still have any of his regalia, his rings or anything? That could save you a purchase if you were so inclined.
Absolutely.
Mhm. I guess really the last thing is that I'll mention, at least as far as social media, is that Juan did a great job teasing out the show topic on our Facebook page by showing off the ring that he liked, and we had some great responses from everyone out there showing off their rings. There's a lot of proud Masons that really wanted to show off the different styles and varieties. I didn't really realize there were many different styles of rings out there.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you very much for engaging with that. That was really great to see how proud each of you were with your individual pieces of light.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, and on those pictures, you can see how some of them took the ring off and put it on top of something very, almost very, uh, with a photographic kind of point of view, so that making it look very nice. Other people wore it and showed it in their hands. And for those of you who wear it with the compass points pointing up, you're wearing it wrong.
Hold on. I got a meme for this. Hold on.
Oh gosh, here it comes. Yeah.
There we go.
If you ask which direction to wear your ring, many brothers will chime in with a lot of crazy theories. Not rooted in fact, I guarantee it.
For those of
actually,
you,
oh my god! And one of the funniest comments on that one was, I don't know about which way you're supposed to be wearing it, but I do know if you don't say the oath while you're recharging it, you're just asking for trouble.
I'm kidding, people. Come on. But send us the hate mail though.
Yeah.
We wanna know what's your opinion.
Do we?
No, we don't.
I wear shoes. I wear them both ways so that I'm always half right.
Well, we've actually seen a couple brothers post on the Facebook page that they have bands that have lots of little square and compasses all around the band, some facing one way, some facing the other way.
So it's only half right.
Look, I gotta be fully honest here. I absolutely hate that discussion. That is the worst rhetoric of debate in Masonry of which way to wear your ring. There are people starving and all these charities we could give to, and people want to discuss at no length how passionate they are about which way to wear their ring.
But I have a theory though. Here's my theory. My theory is that we picked a topic in which to put to test our rhetoric and our logic without necessarily hurting anybody.
Right.
And that's the question of up or down.
I have yet to figure out what the purpose of that discussion is. It's like I sit there and go, the whole time it's like, well, before you're past master, you look at your ring and it's like, how you took your... I'm like, really? I don't know, this looks kind of okay, I guess. You know what? So does this.
Yeah.
Robert?
First, it's like tying your shoes. You make the bunny ears first and wrap around and pull it, or do you do the crisscross thing, then you make the bunny ears and wrap it? It doesn't matter.
You're crossing the line. Now you're crossing the line. There's a one way to do it.
It's good.
Yes, there it is.
There it is.
That's the meme.
That was my first meme I ever created. There.
Nice. That's pretty good.
Belt buckles. Belt buckles wear it this way.
There you go.
Good saying, dudes.
Oh gosh, I don't even want to get into this.
We're gonna hear it.
I can just feel it. The Facebook page is just exploding. I bet it's just.
We broke the internet.
Now, there's only one rule. If anybody is gonna write a passionate discourse about it, it has to be grammatically correct. Otherwise, we're gonna delete it.
And with zero logical fallacies, right?
Yeah. Or we're gonna point them out.
And please post it to All Things Masonic. That's our new name.
Wow, this has gone really, really south really quickly.
All right. Well, if you don't mind, I have something. I have a story that I wanted to share before we go away. About first of all, I'll ask the question. What do you do when you see another man wearing a ring? Let's say, and I'll give you a specific example. If you're at a store and the cashier, you notice that he has a ring with the square and compasses, what do you do?
I immediately, as soon as it's done, I wait, and then I just shake his hand, and then he automatically knows. He just knows. He's just like, oh, okay, and then that's it.
Now, are you
With
alluding?
a grip?
Are you?
No,
Sorry.
I don't give a grip, man. I never
Okay.
give a grip. I do. I cover it though.
Gotcha. Well, so are you alluding to these like challenge questions that have kind of evolved? Because
Not necessarily.
so to my point, I've heard after I was raised that there are certain things that you can do to challenge someone about um, have they earned the knowledge and respect to wear that ring, and that was foreign to me as a mainstream Virginia Mason. That wasn't taught in any of the degrees or any of the education I got, but apparently it's a thing. So
Yeah, it is.
um, yeah, that people could be trying to do certain things, and there's supposed to be questions that you're supposed to answer. Not not part of anything that I've was aware of. I am now, but usually if I see someone with the ring, I'll wait for the conversation to die down just between so it's the two of us talking and just kind of say, hey, so you know, where do you hail from, right? What lodge are you from? And then let him know right away. If it's appropriate, give him the grip, right? But just start the conversation right away.
Hmm. The reason I ask is because I came across a man at a AutoZone, one of those type of car parts stores, and he was checking out. I was checking out, and he's ringing my sale, and I was the only person in his register. So I asked him. I said, "Oh, what lodge do you go to?" His store was very close to a lodge around the area, and he said, "Oh no, I'm not a Mason."
Whoa.
Uh, yeah, that's why I wanted to bring it up, because just because a man is wearing square and compasses in his ring, or somewhere, it doesn't mean that he's a Mason. So it might be necessary before you go and give a grip or something like that to ask him something, not necessarily too cryptic, but
You know
perhaps
what?
be direct and ask him.
That goes like a complete opposite direction. Also, I was at a down at Grand Lodge, and after a session had let out, we went to a local pub, and I got a beer. I was standing there, and this guy started talking to me about masonry. It's like, I've always wanted to become a mason, blah 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 blah. I read all about it. And when I left, he shook my hand and he gave me
Mm,
a grip, and I was like, "You've been reading too much, buddy."
yeah,
Do that
yeah.
again if I.
Yeah,
I need a
that
shower.
irritates me.
I feel unclean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how I felt about it. I didn't be pompous or anything, but you know, don't represent until. I mean, I don't want to say make sure you earn it, but
Yeah.
you do. You should earn it. You know,
Yeah.
becoming a master mason is a huge accomplishment.
Yeah.
Uh, Getting a ring to wear is your right, and it's something a lot of guys do. You know, whether you're a belt buckle guy, a ring guy, a t-shirt guy, you buy a hat, whatever it is.
Hmm.
Um, that's a huge accomplishment to become a master mason, and you earn that right. So,
Yeah.
however you wear your ring, however you want to do anything, I mean, do it. Wear it out loud.
Yeah.
Yep. Awesome. All right, Robert, why don't you start bringing us home?
But I was gonna drink some water. No, okay. So I just kind
That's
of said
okay. We'll wait.
again, just wear your masonry however you want to wear it. The rings are amazing. There's so many great ones out there. Again, if you're a working man with your hands, I want to say I don't want to make it sound like anybody's better than anybody else. I'm just saying, if you work with your hands like I do, the stainless steel rings are nice. You don't have to worry about digging them up, and they're $100 flat, and they're all about the same. You cannot size a stainless steel ring. So if you buy one from Gordon Spurlock and you spend $100, if you don't get the right size, you need to make sure you just buy another one. You cannot resize them. He's got some great stuff going on. Like I said, he's designs are amazing. He's getting up there. He's retired. If you want one, um, support the guy. He's really cool. $100 rings. He can gold fire it for you with some chemistry, some alchemy.
Nice.
He fires the steel so it turns a really nice bronze gold color. Um, and a lot of the rings are very similar, and he's got just different caps that he puts on them. So he uses an adhesive um, that bonds the two pieces of steel together, and I've never had an issue. It's never come off.
Wow.
It's really good stuff. So check that out. I mean, that's my recommendation, other than going to like JP Luther's or whatever. And a lot of those companies, JP Luther's and a lot of those other catalogs, they actually sell his rings, and they sell them for like $100 more than just getting them from him
Direct.
direct. So I don't want to take, I'm not taking food off anybody's table. I'm just saying, Gordon Spurlock. So Masonic podcasts, if you like those, you got do me a favor, check out Whence Came You podcast. It's goes out every Sunday night at 9:30. I don't take any weeks off, so except for Christmas and New Year's, I take those 2 weeks off. Check them out, and if you want, my lodge is live streaming our open installation of officers. If you go to waukegan78.com and click live streaming events, you can check that out. And we're live streaming it for the brothers who can't be there. We've got some guys who are in ill health and might not make it back to lodge anytime soon. So we're doing it for those guys because they were our mentors and that kind of thing. So the plus is, if you're interested and you want to see how a Masonic ceremony goes, it's an open installation. So it's a neat way to expose yourself and to kind of see some neat things that go on in a Masonic lodge if you're not a member yet.
Yeah. And who's going to be installed as Worshipful Master?
Oh, that would unfortunately be yours truly.
Congratulations, brother.
Congratulations.
I'm really excited about it. As anybody will tell you, Mike Shirley, who is a Midnight Freemason, and he probably doesn't know it, but he's a pretty good influence on myself as well. He was one of the first people who really got me thinking about leadership is not necessarily leadership; it's the opposite, right? It's serving. And I realized that's just something that we all like to do. As Masons, we serve people. So if we can do that effectively, then we make the world a little bit better place. So thanks to Mike Shirley for a lot of your good counsel, even though you don't know you even gave it to me, buddy.
Nice. All right, thanks. Nick? Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Holy smokes. Thing is if you like wearing rings, totally do it. I mean, I get it. I understand why guys want to shine their light. I guess that's how we say it now, right? But for me, I don't know. I get kind of uncomfortable with having to explain Masonry because, it's one of those that you sit there and you go, yeah, it's a fraternity, and we do some stuff, and we do some things, and well, how many devil worshipping things do you? It's all right. Hold on. I'm not a Mason. This is just my second wedding ring. I love my wife so much, so but yeah, go ahead and wear a ring, and as we all know, you're supposed to wear it with the points this way. I'm not going to show you, but it's this
that
way.
way.
And it's very important that you do it that way, because if you don't, the Green Lantern power will disappear, and your ability to use the green light will go away, and you'll be using orange light. And as we know, orange light is related to wrath, and we don't want that.
No
So-
bueno.
No, wait, is that avarice? God, I gotta go back to that whole comic book series. Anyway, wow, this is so tangential, it's not even funny. I'm almost certain this is right. Anyway, yeah, I've got this blog that you can check out. I think I'm gonna change it into a comic book blog, because holy crap. Yeah, so come on out, millennialfreemason.com. You can also come out to reddit.com/r/Freemasonry. It's a fun time. Masonic Meme Monday was off the chain because John really lit it up. And like when I say lit it up, I think we hit 105 comments on your memes. So I of course you only got 8 upvotes.
Yeah, at least I contributed to the fraternity that week. Good.
Yeah, you changed lives.
Yeah.
Really did.
First published. We should also mention that John, I think, has the only published meme in a magazine.
Hey. Yeah.
Yep.
That,
John has a meme in there. It's fantastic.
since you shared that with me, it's in the October 2014 issue of the Working Tools magazine. You sent me the picture, and I went ahead and bought a copy just to hang it on my wall.
It was great.
I'm published.
Good job, pass math. I was like, that is awesome. They gave you credit for a meme. Thanks, Corey.
That was awesome. So there you go.
Alrighty. Juan, what can you do for us?
All right. Well, if you like wearing rings and you want to wear one, do so with pride. But know that if people notice it, they might ask you about it. Just be prepared to answer questions, or at least have the courtesy of, cutting the conversation short in a very gentlemanly manner and not be rude about it, because then you give us a bad name. And for the people that listen that might not be Masons, give yourself some time. If you have one that you inherited from a loved one, if you bought one at an auction or something like that, just know that you will wear it with so much pride if you have access to the knowledge that comes with receiving the third degree in Masonry. I like the conversation. I think that I love talking about Masonry, and having a ring kind of gives me that opportunity. Although I have encountered people that ask me about it and then they just go in these horrible accusations that sometimes are not even dignified to be answered. So just know what comes with it. It's not just the ring that you wear. It's a statement that you make.
With a great ring.
Yeah. It comes with great responsibility. My precious. Anyway, I invite you, if you haven't done so yet, download the latest episode of The Winding Stairs, episode 24, before Halloween is too far away from it to make any sense.
It was a great episode.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, loved it.
I really enjoyed making it. It is a very interesting story. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, this is going to be very entertaining to listen to. One of our brothers might be visiting us decades after passing.
Is the Masonic Zach Bagans.
Nice.
But it was a fun episode. And here's one thing. You can see some of my artwork by visiting freemasonryart.com. If you make a purchase during the month of November and you use the promo code TMR, not only are you helping the Masonic Roundtable keep the lights on and keep on putting good content for you, but you will also get a free copy of the Some Man Simply Stand Out poster. So just place an order on freemasonryart.com during the month of November, and I'll include one of these free for you, and you help keep the shows alive. So
Very cool.
go to
Thanks.
freemasonryart.com, promo code TMR.
Awesome.
Okay, before you start, John, I looked it up, and I was totally wrong. Orange is for avarice under the emotional thing, and it was only held by Larfleas. So there you go. All right, I feel better now
All right.
because all the comic book nerds that watch
Yes.
this are breathing a sigh of relief. I think they would have probably found all of us and knocked on our doors and yelled at us.
And you can
Because of
find
my
Nick at the
stroke.
very next Comic-Con out in Minnesota. So, well,
This is where I got my first challenge by another Mason.
no way.
I was
What?
wearing a hat, and he yelled something at me, and I was like, what? And then he yelled the answer back. Like, oh, I'm too new.
All right, friends and brothers. One thing I wanted to add too is when I joined Masonry is because I saw a ring. I had done my research on the fraternity, but seeing a brother wear a ring was the actual spark that I said, I know he is a Mason, and I'm going to talk to him about Masonry. So that's why I wear mine proudly today. I want others to do the same. So if you have fingers, you can wear a ring, wear it proudly. Wanted to also remind everyone of our Sparklight campaign using the hashtag Sparklight. Share on our Facebook page books you'd like to read. I want to learn from you guys what what interests you, Masonic education or otherwise. If you have recently bought a pin from us or have seen us at any of our appearances, we have some bookmarks too to kind of help you find us and help us find other books that you like to share. So please post on there just like you did with the rings. That was a great discussion. Let us know what books you like. I'm just very genuinely curious about what everyone's reading. With that, thank you very much. Wear your points facing out and keep searching for more light. Have a good night.